This piece emerged for me as a set of musings on some of our culture's more absurd social customs. So, thank you for your attention, and this is Obituary.
Still a living room.
Under different circumstances, I would have expected.
Yeah.
Because.
Yeah.
But does this mean we can't?
I don't know.
It probably doesn't mean we can't.
I don't know.
But should we? I think things are more flexible now.
Are they?
Well, I hadn't really looked into it.
Yeah.
It's funny, you don't think of death as being a logistical thing.
It's very logistical.
It's very logistical. You sort of think of it as a wall, as a very definitive, abstract thing.
Definitive and abstract?
Fuck you, but you know what I mean. It's a sort of black hole for the mind. You never think about having to maneuver around once you're inside of it.
You mean
you
kind of
never
like
think
a
about
vagina?
having to find. Fuck you. Never mind.
No, I was with you, man.
Go fuck yourself. The point is, do we do it in a church?
I don't know.
There, do we do it in a church?
I don't really give a shit, darling. We can do it in a fire temple if you want.
You know, flippancy is not really becoming at a time like this.
Well, frankly, there's very little that is becoming at a time like this. And also, frankly, I really don't know what you mean by a time like this, because I'm fairly sure there are no other times like this. Have you written anything?
Nope. You?
No.
You have one job.
Well, it's quite a job.
Did you hear there was a tornado warning out today? Since when do we live in Kansas?
Well, the U.S. gets over 1,000 tornadoes a year. I guess one had to show up here eventually.
Why do you know shit like that?
60 minutes.
Even as a kid, you knew shit you shouldn't know. I seem to remember your second grade teacher accusing you of trying to take over her class.
Yeah, she had authority issues.
I'm astonished either of you remember that. Usually you don't remember anything that happened before you lost your virginity.
Yeah, well, before that it was really all just pregame.
Seriously, you guys never remember anything. You don't remember me coming home from the hospital. You don't remember Mom making pumpkin pie. As far as I can tell, you don't remember Mom at all.
We remember her.
We remember her.
Really?
There, don't make this a thing. Not now.
Fuck, how did we get here?
I know. I was just saying to Theo how it's kind of like a dark hole. You never think about there being anything to do once you're inside of it.
Does that sound sort of bizarrely sexual to anyone else?
Okay, I'm done.
No, I'm just saying.
I hear you.
Okay, look, do we do it in a church? Can we do it in a church?
What do you mean?
Well, you know, for obvious reasons.
Can you not say it?
What? Of course I can say it.
Then say it.
Why?
Just say it.
There, this is so not the point.
No, I think this is exactly the point. You think we can't do it in a church because we'll have to say it, and you're not sure if we can say it in a church, which I sort of get, though I think it's stupid. But surely we can say it in the goddamn living room. Yeah, when I get back, we are writing this.
I knew she would be like this.
She's always like this.
She is not. Cut her some slack. She's in pain.
Well, we're all in pain. No one enjoys this. There's a reason that mourning is a homophone for the most depressing part of the day. Okay, to church or not to church? What would you want if it were you?
For it to be someone else's funeral?
Touché.
Did you know you're supposed to make programs for a funeral? People aren't pretty sure how it's going to go. They want to read ahead. People are asking me how we should write his name on the program. If there are people there that don't already know his fucking name, then we have some much bigger problem.
Knock it off there. This is what you do. People like to hold on to something.
Oh, I really hate programs, even at the best of times. Even at the theater. You can't put it on the floor because you'll forget it and someone will have to pick it up, so it's on your lap and you spend the whole time going, did my program just fall off my lap? Oh no, it's still there. And then you have this vague idea that you're going to go save it and remember the show, and it sits in a drawer somewhere with all the other programs you'll never look at again.
You're a very sort of existentially anxious person, aren't you?
Yes. Yes.
So,
have you written anything?
no, you.
No.
I know we all got into this habit in college, but this is probably not the sort of thing you want to procrastinate on.
Yeah, but the same rules apply. My brilliance is exclusively last
It
minute.
doesn't need to be brilliant, it just needs to be finished. We're starting. Drew?
Why is it my job?
Don't you do this for a living?
Not exactly this. I'm a screenwriter.
How's that working out for you?
Okay, name. How do we want to write his name?
God, we're on this crap again?
Middle name, no middle name. Come on, this is what you have to do.
Fine, middle name.
Last name first or... Okay, dates. When was Dad born?
54.
Really?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
Theo?
Sounds right.
Really? So he would have been 57?
Yeah.
Really? How old does that make you?
You don't know how old I am?
I'm not sure I know how old I am. I kind of got in the habit of saying 30, but it's been a while.
You're 33, dear.
No fucking way, really?
Yeah.
I was born in 78.
Yeah.
Fuck me, so that makes you...
25.
Anyway,
Yeah. June 22nd, 1954 to July 18th, 2011.
Wow,
What?
that looks really final.
Yeah.
So, how do we start?
Well, you usually start by saying that they're dead.
Really? You don't think in an obituary that's kind of implied?
No, that's what people say. They say so-and-so passed away
Well,
on...
okay, well, first of all, he did not pass away.
Okay, but that's what people say.
What people?
People.
Fuck people. He did not pass away. We're not saying that.
Then what do you want it to say?
Well, the truth comes to
There.
mind. Less confusing.
Look, it's not appropriate.
Appropriate?
It's-
I don't think I even know what that word means in this context.
Look, what I mean is it's no one's business.
I really don't think that is what you mean.
Okay, how about we come back to the first line later?
Okay.
Fine.
Phone.
I'll be back. Don't go anywhere.
Why are you doing that?
I have to pee.
So pee.
She said not to go anywhere.
Oh, for God's sake.
I'm fine. I'm fine. Pee attracts deer.
60 minutes?
Yeah.
Someone has arranged for canapes at the reception, in case anyone was panicking about that. Okay, go.
Okay. He is survived by...
Well, that's one word for it.
his 3 children, 3 loving children, Andrew, Theodore, and Verity.
Wow.
What?
Your name is Andrew, isn't it?
Yes?
No, You're Drew.
You didn't know it was short for something.
No, I did. I guess in my head it was always Drewington or something.
Brewington?
I don't know.
Hey, team, let's focus.
All right, Theo. It's not like we're working on a deadline.
Well, we are a little.
What?
Well, there are only so many days you can wait to put out one of these things before it starts looking like you don't care.
Like you don't care?
Yeah,
Born in England and educated at Oxford. What year did Dad graduate?
no idea.
Don't look at me.
Come on, Miss Family Archive. Start digging around in there.
How the hell should I know?
We're bad children, aren't we?
Okay, this is math, right? He was born in 54, he would have graduated at 22, so that makes it...
76.
Yeah, but do they do 4 years of university in England or 3?
And do they even finish high school at 18?
Well, they don't have high school.
Well, they don't call it high school.
Oh, for God's sake, somebody get online.
You know, I'm starting to suspect this doesn't matter. What year did Dad marry Mom? Oh, come on.
We're getting online.
I didn't know we needed an entire fact-checking team just to remember our own lives.
To be fair, we weren't really around at that point.
78.
Huh?
He married Mom in 78.
Where'd you find that?
Mom's obituary.
Oh. 78?
Yeah.
Drew, what year were you born again?
78.
Uh-oh.
Oh, shut up.
This is interesting. I'd forgotten this.
What?
Never mind.
By the way, how is a tornado different from, say, a hurricane?
Now that we found Mom's, do you think we can just cut and paste?
Drew!
What?
These things are not fucking recyclable.
Yeah, but this one's already been fact-checked by... Who wrote it?
Dad?
There you go.
They were married in 1978. In 82, they moved out here. We were all born, apparently. Yeah, unfortunately, this stops 15 years ago.
Right. Damn.
Come on, what are we going to say?
I don't know. It's sort of a troubling idea that a life is reducible to 300 words.
I didn't know that family members actually wrote these things. In my head, there was some sad little man behind a desk in the back of the newspaper office who wrote all of that.
That's a depressing job.
Yeah.
You know, his name would be like Francis or Hugh. And he would eat lunch every day at the same little diner down the street from the office. Ow!
Off topic.
Devoted husband.
He wasn't all that
He was
devoted.
devoted. He didn't cheat.
Oh yes, our society's high watermark of marital success. He and Mom were not fond of each other. Just because they're both dead doesn't mean they suddenly have things in common. We can't retroactively make them happy together.
Okay, it's just a phrase.
They must have been happy together at some point.
Well, I suppose. Well, actually, at least at 3 points.
Gross.
Do you think that's why none of us have ever had successful relationships?
Hey!
Oh, come on. You have a madly dysfunctional relationship with Spencer. Theo has never had a girlfriend I can remember, and I systematically date the most inappropriate men I can find.
She has a point.
What's wrong with Spencer?
Oh, please. You two spend all your time arguing about which one of you is secretly straight.
Okay, that is extremely close to not being true.
Tornado. A violent, dangerous, rotating column of air that is in contact with both the surface of the Earth and a cumulonimbus cloud strikes suddenly and leaves surprising devastation in its wake.
Yeah.
You thought there would be nothing to look forward to today.
What does one do in the event of a hurricane?
Fruit cellar?
Does anyone actually have one of those?
No.
So we just sit here?
I guess.
Yeah.
I know when they were happy. Remember when we all went up to that beach house in Bodega? And Drew and I stayed up really late playing Risk, and we heard all those weird noises coming from the next room?
Yeah.
And in the morning, Dad said the house was haunted.
Oh, yeah.
How long did it take you to figure out what they were doing?
Huh?
You know what they were doing in there?
I don't get it.
Dude, that they were...
Until now, fine.
Really? You were still going with the ghost and the rocking chair?
I don't know. People tell you things when you're young and you never really question them. I was in my 20s before I figured out the ATM machine is not really called the magic window.
Yeah, the remote isn't called the click-em thing either.
It's too bad there's no way to ensure your adolescent social life against the damage of what your parents find charming.
Isn't ATM machine redundant? Doesn't the M already stand for machine?
Do you have actual friends?
Unclear.
You know, just because they were having sex doesn't mean they were happy.
I'm happy when I'm having sex.
Who are you having sex?
I retract the statement.
By the way, you know what we haven't talked about yet.
What?
The big toss-up.
What?
You know, the big decision, the final decision.
Invisibility or flight?
Yes, Theo, invisibility or flight. You know, after you die.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
What?
What do you think?
I don't know.
What?
Which is less creepy.
Well, with Mom we did flight.
Right.
That's what she wanted.
But what would Daddy have wanted?
I don't know. He always seemed more of an invisibility guy to me.
How so?
I don't know. It's a pretty indefinite set of criteria we're dealing with here.
What are we talking about?
The big question. Afterwards, it's one or the other. I'd pick flight.
Really?
Definitely. You wouldn't?
I don't know. You always wonder, what if there's a mistake and you weren't totally dead yet?
How would that ever
I
happen?
don't know. The mind reels.
And that possibility is less terrifying for the other option? Invisibility?
Somehow it's nice to know that a part of you is still here, even if you were invisible.
Whatever, dude. I'm flying. Just scatter me into the wind.
I'll bear that in mind.
What makes you think it'll be your call?
You have a potential husband stashed away somewhere that I don't know about?
Hey, I am young. Very young. A hell of a lot younger than you. When I go, you'll probably be invisible already.
Not with the crap you eat.
Oh! So if we go with flight, does that mean we don't do a headstone?
No, we have to do a headstone. There has to be a place to go.
Yeah? When was the last time any of us visited Mom?
I used to go all the time.
Really?
Yeah. I remember one night, I must have been 15, I couldn't sleep. And around 3 in the morning, I climbed out my window and went to the graveyard. It was just perfectly dark there. And I laid down where we had buried her, and I thought, it's not so bad here. I slept all night there. I used to see homeless men sleeping in the graveyards, and I would think, God, how depressing. But now I wonder, maybe they're just visiting like me. And that's why you do a headstone. Because there are moments at 3 in the morning when there has to be some place to go. Moments you can't survive without some place to go.
There was no moon.
No.
It was completely dark.
Yeah.
So for all you know, you could have been camping out on some stranger's grave and not hanging out with Mom at all.
Fuck you.
Some poor guy who died in like 1860 probably woke up to find 15-year-old you on top of him.
I know where my mother is buried, okay?
Oh, God.
What?
Are we going to put Dad next to Mom?
Ooh. I don't know.
Makes sense, right?
Not really.
But isn't that what you're supposed to do?
If Mom hadn't died, they'd be divorced by now, and you know it.
Yeah, I think Mom would be pretty pissed if she were forced to spend forever next door to Dad.
I think she's going to be pretty pissed when they run into each other up there anyway.
Up where?
Good point. Where are we on the thing?
Name, dates, no first sentence, living relatives, and everything posited after that has been vetoed by Verity.
Do you believe in an up there?
No.
No. You?
No.
All right then, no help there.
It might be nice if we could believe.
Yeah.
It's sort of arrogant, our certainty, isn't it?
Yeah.
That time you heard them having sex, was it the only time?
Yeah.
I never heard them.
Lucky you.
Why is everyone always so creeped out by the thought of their parents having sex? Isn't it kind of nice to know that they like each other? Who first talked to you about sex? Mom or Dad?
Dad?
Dad.
What did he say?
He gave me a condom and said, "You're going to think you don't need this, but you do." Sometimes I think he knew I was gay before I did.
Mom told me. She said, "You know that special place between your legs where it feels good to touch?" And I said yes, and I told her that sometimes when Daddy would pick me up and hold me in his arms, I would move around so that his arm would press against it. And she looked at me like she didn't know who I was, and she said I must never, never do that again, and not to ever tell Dad about it. But I wouldn't have anyway. I was 7.
We have to say something.
Loving father? Wait, we already used the word loving.
How about patient, father?
A little lukewarm, isn't it? What was your father like? Well, he was very patient.
Well, it's true, at least. I swear, he said the same thing to me when I won the spelling bee and when I got my first detention as he said when I got my first period. Well done! That was it. Well done. I could have lit Theo on fire and it would have been met with the same gentle approval.
You just think you're great, don't you?
I'm pretty great.
He did care, you know.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, then you'd think he might have stuck around to see how things turned out.
Okay, patient father, let the unrestrained gushing continue.
Always on an even keel.
Never too extreme on any point.
The keeper of the equilibrium.
Remembered eternally for his spectacular reasonableness.
Admirably resigned to a life of mediocrity.
Okay, there.
A perfect specimen of unremarkableness.
There.
Content to pass from invisibility in life to invisibility in death.
There, that's enough.
Forgotten almost the moment he is remembered, disappearing easily into the ebb and flow of the universe, never to be heard from again.
Shut up!
Oh, is that inappropriate? We're bereaved. We can't be inappropriate.
You want to bet?
What? Is it not true?
You know, Ver, there's a difference between being blunt and being a cunt. Not everyone who disagrees with you is in denial.
No, most people are in denial, whether they agree with me or not. I just care less if they agree with me.
What is wrong with you?
Everything! What isn't wrong with me? I can't bear it. I'm so afraid I won't be able to bear it. That he could have been so unhappy. And we couldn't see it. We couldn't touch it. I'm so afraid I won't be able to remember our life. How to live, because everything I see is screaming at me, this is not your life! This was not my father, he wouldn't leave us, he wouldn't! I can't!
Shh, calm down.
No, I don't want to calm down. I don't want to. I want to scream all day, every day. I want to scream. But you can't just go on screaming. There'll be nothing left of your voice. Nothing left. But maybe if Dad... Maybe if he could scream, he would still be...
There.
Where are we? We have to write this. Let's finish this damn thing now.
We don't have to do this right now.
Yes, we do. Right now. No one leaves until it's finished. He was our father. Let's say who he was.
All right, he passed away.
Damn it! He did not pass away!
What do you want me to say?
What happened?
It's no one's business. It's crass and unnecessary.
Well, to me, the whole event was crass and unnecessary, and there is nothing to be done about it but just to say, yes, this is what happened.
You don't have to turn this into some sort of sick crusade just because you're clutching for something to believe in.
It's not a crusade. It's just what's true. Why are you so afraid of it? Why do you think we can't do it in a church? I don't give a shit about a church, but you and I both know that Daddy would have wanted it in a church. So why can't we do it in a church?
It's just given the circumstances.
Oh my God, why can't you say it?
I can say it. I am choosing not to.
Well, you should start practicing. Because this is our story now. This is who we are.
This is not who we are. It's something that happened.
Something?
Look, given the way he died...
You mean because he hanged himself from a tree in the backyard, we shouldn't do it in a church? That is what you are saying?
Yes.
So, it's a crime. Suicide is a crime, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Probably has a pretty low conviction rate.
I would imagine.
No one leaves until we finish this. Here.
Thanks, not hungry.
Eating is a good thing, Drew.
I never eat when I write.
How very Jack Kerouac of you. Eat it.
I'm serious. Nothing is more damning to the creative process than the banality of food.
What do you have so far?
Well, about 5 sentences about Dad and the beginning of a pretty bad short story.
How is it that you make a living?
I'm pretty. What took you so long?
I was jerking off.
Yeah, I figured.
When are you going back to LA?
Right after the service, I guess.
Spencer gonna make it up?
Yeah?
That's nice.
Yeah. Did you know there are 14 different punctuation marks?
I did know that.
Oh.
So?
5 sentences.
Okay, life accomplishments.
There was that company he started with Mom.
He was on a couple of boards, and that work he did building that center.
The time he figured out how to hold up my prom dress with duct tape.
Is this a whole life?
No. Those are just things he did. None of that is life. Life is what goes on between the bullet points.
Did you know there are 14 different punctuation marks?
Yeah.
No one likes people who know everything.
Was he religious? I could never figure out how much was habit and how much was faith.
Maybe that's why he raised 3 atheists.
The man from the cemetery called. Apparently, unless we want to pay a lot more money, we're going to have to put him next to Mom.
Oh, Jesus.
Amazing how, at the end, most men would probably pay a great deal not to have to spend eternity next to their wives.
How are we supposed to visit them? We'll have to put up some kind of partition so we can talk to each of them separately.
Just like when they were alive.
You talk to them?
Yeah? You don't?
You don't think death will have made them more open-minded?
Sort of hard to imagine, but death does strange things to people. Mom changed just before she died. She was never religious, but I think she was looking for something. She started doing things. There were some people who would visit her. Remember? They would do things together?
What things?
I remember seeing her naked, and I remember women standing around her. They were black, African, and they were touching her with handfuls of ashes. They were smearing them all over her. I didn't know why. To heal her, they said. But of course it didn't. She knew she wasn't going to get well. We all knew that. And I remember the door was open a little, and when I knocked, she smiled and she let me in. She hadn't stood up in days, but she was standing. And I remember one woman held out the jar for me to dip my hands in, and I traced the ashes over her body, just like all the other women. They were cold. Really cold. She was there when Mommy died. That woman. She was standing in the doorway while we washed her body. I remember. I wanted to call her over to tell her that she could help, that I didn't mind. But I was shy, and I didn't know the words. Who were they? The women. Do you know who they were?
No, doesn't sound like Mom. Are you sure? You remember some weird shit. You were like 6 or something. How can you remember shit like that?
Because for as long as I can remember, I knew it was precious. And I knew that we wouldn't always have the people who are supposed to help us remember. That is what it is to be family. We are the people who hold on to our history for each other. You are the reason that I can look back on my life and know it wasn't a dream. Mommy always told me I would be beautiful. She promised me. She said all beautiful women are ugly ducklings for a while, and she promised that when I grew up I would be beautiful. So I waited. Still waiting. Maybe I'm not really grown up yet. I'm starting to suspect that there are no real grown-ups. I think people just get better and better at pretending. We had parents. We had a childhood. You helped me know that. We have to help each other remember now. What do you remember?
I don't know. I don't remember that. I don't know what I remember.
True, come on.
What time did the weather say the tornado might come?
Next couple of hours.
Shopping.
Emma Delancey left us broken-hearted by her death.
Whoa, downer. Next.
Yeah, do you have anything in a more optimistic shade?
Let me check in the back. Zachary Palmer. The world's quotient of joy was significantly diminished on June
Next.
7th. Something a little less encumbered?
Please.
Trisha Lopez. A light has gone out in the community since the death of...
Next, Adelaide Levine. The angels embraced our dear sister on...
Next, Edward James. We lost our dear father on January 18th, 2011. He was deeply loved. Our family may never recover, but we remember him with joy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn. Can we just use that?
True.
What?
Really? Obituary plagiarism?
Is it really plagiarism?
Oh, it's definitely plagiarism.
Who's going to notice?
You've got to be kidding.
It's not as though we're publishing it in a book.
No, we're publishing it in a newspaper.
There have got to be rules about that, and even if there aren't, what the hell is the matter with you?
Fine, and what do you want me to say?
Well, I can't think of anything now.
Well,
let me look at what you've already written.
what?
Nothing. You got a little semicolon happy there.
Fine, your turn.
You're not really going to let her write it, are
Why
you?
not?
Oh my god, everyone who reads it will start killing themselves. It will be the biggest mass suicide since...
Point taken.
Fuck you both.
What time do we have to send it in to meet the print deadline?
5.
It's 4.
Yeah.
Let's loosen up. We've been sitting too long. Get the blood flowing. Move a little.
I don't move. Seriously, the world comes to me.
Come on, let's shake it up a little.
Were you my high school cheerleading coach in a previous life?
You wish you were a cheerleader in high school.
Oh, that's right. You were a cheerleader in high school.
Swore you would never speak of that.
All right. Sentence by sentence. Every sentence starts with a subject. Can I get a noun, please?
He?
No points for creativity, but that'll work. Verb. Loved. He loved. Transitive verb. Who's got another noun phrase?
To.
Ooh, technically a preposition, but arguably the beginning of a noun phrase. He loved to.
Garden.
Oh, a true statement. He loved to garden. You getting this down, Bear?
You're a freak.
Noted. Come on. Generous.
And.
Kind.
And.
Compassionate.
And.
Okay, I somehow feel like I'm getting the shit into the stick.
Okay.
Generous and kind, comma,
He.
Was.
Always.
Greatly.
Relied.
On.
By.
His.
Friends.
Syntactically a little awkward.
Well, this is what happens when you play one-word story with a funeral announcement, but at least we're getting somewhere. He.
Took.
Where are you going with this? Great.
Pleasure.
Oh, in.
Hiking.
And.
Fuck you. Reading.
Books.
On.
History.
And.
Fuck you back. Spirituality.
We.
Verity doesn't have the talking ball.
Oh, come on.
No.
Fine, give me the damn ball. Fuck you. We.
Who?
You're kind of hemming me in here. Knew.
Him.
Best.
Comma.
Foul.
What?
You have to contribute a word, not a punctuation mark.
Fine. Remember.
No, penalty. 5 words. We who knew him best.
Remember his great capacity for.
Joy.
Foul. Talking without the talking ball. 5 words.
We remember his laughter.
That's 4.
No, I said joy before. That one counts.
Fine.
We.
Wait!
No waiting. It's your turn.
I can't think of anything.
Come on.
Can't. Hold on.
Penalty.
Penalty!
The player shall be continuously pelted with the talking ball until she produces an appropriate word.
That's ridiculous.
Hey, I don't make the rules.
Yes, you do.
Too bad.
No, stop it. Knock it off, you guys.
It's like old times.
Yeah, except back then Bear would pick up the ball and bring it back to us, so we should throw it at her again.
Oh yeah, what the fuck?
You were my older brothers. I wanted you to play with me.
We weren't playing with you. We were using you for target
I
practice.
took what I could get.
Wow, that's sad.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's really pathetic.
I know. We're orphans.
Yeah.
No, we're not.
Yes, we are.
We're not.
I am.
Isn't there an age limit on that? Don't you have to be about 10 years old and speak with a lisp?
I don't think so. I think everyone feels like an orphan when their parents die.
Really? Even when you're 60 years old and have been someone else's parents for most of your life?
Yep.
Do you think that when we're 60 years this old, this will become a moot point because our parents will probably be dead by then anyway?
Wow. That is probably among the least comforting thoughts you could have come up with.
Sorry, little gallows humor.
Oh.
And we're going to hell.
Yeah, like that's a new development. I think my name's been on that reservation list at least a few times already.
You think sentences in hell stack, or do you get to serve them concurrently?
We're talking about eternities here?
Yeah.
How far do you get in math?
Advanced trig.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to figure this one out.
Do you think we'll ever feel normal again?
You used to feel normal?
Relatively speaking.
Man, that's a conversation we'll need to have sometime.
It's just that part of me is still the person before the phone call. The one that said he was gone. I think part of me will always be the girl before the phone call.
Yeah.
It's lonely, the world after the phone call.
Yeah.
I've taken to sleeping with my computer. It has this nice, warm, reassuring presence. And that little light on the side, it glows and fades almost exactly as if it were breathing. I think it must have been specially designed to mimic breath.
So you think the makers of Apple are specifically targeting lonely single women?
Stranger things have happened.
Now when you say sleeping with, you mean...
Shut up.
Okay.
Oh God, more funeral. I swear swear, our culture has a sick sense of humor.
You don't believe in funerals?
I'm just pointing out that when your father has succumbed to the terrifying draw of self-annihilation, the last thing you want to do is plan a party and write an essay.
Let the machine get it.
I can't let the machine get it.
Why?
Because...
Why?
Because it's still Dad's voice on the machine.
You haven't changed the message?
No.
Why not?
Because...
Well, go change it then.
I can't. I can't erase the last of him.
There are people are going to keep calling.
I know.
You can't always be here to pick up the phone.
I know.
You're going to have to change it.
Not yet.
We're going to have to move on from this at some point. Preserving his answering machine message like some fucking memorial at a certain point gets self-indulgent and morbid.
Well, you certainly seem to have moved on. Apparently, you've moved on from our entire fucking childhood. How is it that you remember nothing? How is it that you don't remember the women?
Because the women were never there.
Yes, they were! Theo, you remember, don't you?
No, I don't.
Stop it. Stop it, you two. Don't leave me alone with it.
Bear, calm down.
It happened. I know it happened, but if no one else remembers, it doesn't matter if it happened or not. You're all that's left. You're the only ones left to remember. Don't leave me alone with it.
We didn't leave, okay? Dad's the only one who left. If he'd stayed...
For what exactly?
I don't know, to see his grandchildren?
Okay, I really want to know which one of us you think was going to give him
You
grandchildren.
can't stay alive for somebody else. You can't. You can't ask people to stay alive for somebody else.
Of course you can. It's the most basic thing of all. As human beings, we are subject to each other. This was awful, okay? It was tragic, and I feel awful that it happened. But maybe if we had come home more often...
Fuck all! This was not a tragic accident. Dad didn't fall off a cliff. He made a choice. And you wish he had stayed for you to see how your lives turned out, to keep a buffer between you and your own mortality. This wasn't about us. We're adults. He had done his job and he wanted out, and he made a choice. Can't we try just a little to respect that?
Respect? You want me to respect the fact that our father was so desperate, so sad, he killed himself?
Thank God you finally said
Shut
it.
up, Fair. You want me to respect the fact that he stood on a chair, tied a rope around his neck, and kicked? He didn't make a choice. No one chooses that. If that's what he did, he gave up. He just gave up. I don't have to respect that.
He was our dad. Come on, man. He was our dad.
Yes.
Drew.
No. Shit happens and you hang on. That's what life is. You don't give up. People get depressed. I've been depressed. When my book failed and I had no place to live, I thought I could feel myself disappearing, and I hung on. I stood in fire for 3 years, and from that I learned that I could stand in fire for 3 years. Dad gave up.
And why not?
I don't know whether I will ever regain my ability to think in the long term. You think you can see the trajectory of your life stretching out in front of you. Not far, but certainly to next week, certainly to tomorrow. You think you can see the days and how they will go and where you will be in a week, in a month. But then, suddenly, in an instant, everything has disappeared. And the rules of life you thought you were living are suddenly irrelevant and somehow very far away. And you realize that you're always on the brink of that phone call, the one that comes at 4 in the morning. You never want the phone to ring at 4 in the morning. 4 in the morning is not when they call to tell you you've won the lottery. The call that tells you that everything is different, that everything is gone, that the thought that we can see a day or even a second into the future is not only an illusion, but it's the most arrogant and idiotic delusion in the world. After the call, I was sitting in my apartment and looking around at everything I had arranged just so. And I was thinking that no matter how carefully we arrange our lives, no matter what good decisions we make or how careful we are with ourselves, none of it can keep the phone from ringing in the middle of the night to tell you that the world has ended while you were asleep. None of it can keep a fucking tornado from coming and blowing us all away. Once you know that, really know it, how can you plan to go to Japan next month? How can you assume that you know anything about next month? How can you assume you know anything?
Because you have to. Or else you're paralyzed. There's no other option. You're paralyzed.
Yeah. Maybe I'm paralyzed. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to care about the programs. I can't write an obituary. I can't remember his life. I can't remember my life.
I remember. I remember a lot of hospitals.
Yes.
A lot of nurses holding your hand and taking me to the vending machines. I remember thinking we would spend our whole lives in hospitals. And 2 days ago, when I heard about Dad, the first thought in my head was, thank God we'll never have to go back to the hospitals. Thank God he didn't go like Mom, breathing with tubes held together and so much metal that the crematorium had to go through her ashes with a magnet.
I'm not ashamed. Are you?
I don't know.
What else do you remember?
I remember the way she smelled, like sheets just out of the dryer.
Yes.
I remember falling off a swing and breaking my arm on Mother's Day.
I remember going to school in pants with hearts embroidered over the holes.
I remember finding her underwear in the drawer and realizing I could fit my entire body into one of the legs.
I remember the night she died. There was a woman there. I'd never seen her before.
Yes.
Is that what a tornado sounds like?
I don't know. I've never heard one before.
It's almost 5.
Drew, delete what we wrote. Let's take another pass.
Last name, first, middle. Took his life on July 18th, 2011. He will be deeply missed.